ISIS Wiki has been holding annual institutes to train women from countries that have experienced conflict.
It's a board that is very, very serious about this institute. The institute is ISIS's killer app, as we say. In management science, you have this new phenomena of a killer application. I'm sorry, it's so militaristic, but it's an application you have, it's a tool you have which can take care of several things at the same time. And that's what this institute is. So we're very serious about this institute.
But those who have gone through the institute, since we moved from Geneva to Africa, are 400. And some of them are here. They are going to share with you their best practices. But I just want to highlight a few successes that these women have had. Now, after getting the masters, we see so many of them going into the UN within their countries. And they have done a transformation in some of the departments in the UN, in bilateral agencies like Ford Foundation. Many of them have actually engaged institutions to make sure that they give money to the CBOs in their communities.
I also want to learn and experience how other women in my region, in Africa and other regions, what are they doing when it comes to women issues, peace building and conflict resolutions, and also leadership campaign and awareness.
Hapa ISIS alituita kujitambua kwa leadership ya mwanamke. Mwanamke anapaswa kuwa na arme gani? Arme gani anapaswa kuitimiza kwa kuona kama yeye ni mtu mwenye kukulisha leo ekonomia ya mkini yetu ya Bukavu yasituke kuko kwa mkono wa mwanamke.
म समय अगाडि केही वर्ष अगाडि यसको बारेमा नि मैले सुनेको थिएँ र म अहिले ओरेक नेपालको बोर्ड मेम्बर पनि हो र बोर्ड मेम्बर र पहिले यो ओरेक नेपालसँग पनि आइसियुले मिलेर काम गरेको थियो र अहिले त्यसरी नै अब यो आइसियुले यहाँ एउटा तालिम आयोजना गरेको कुरा हामीलाई पनि यहाँ जानकारी भएको थियो र नेपालबाट पनि तपाईहरु आउनुस् भनेर निमन्त्रणा पठाइसकेपछि हामीले एप्लाई गरेर हामी आयौं.
My expectation was to strengthen my capacity to advocate for women's rights, to make me stronger as in talking, to become a voice for the voiceless women, and to enlighten me more about feminism, patriarchism.
And I'm really able to appreciate, or I should be thankful to ISIS Wiki who provided us this opportunity to be here and to come out from our countries and to see what's happening all around the world, especially with women. To all the women of the world, that they can come together and they can share their experiences, their life experiences, their country experiences, their community experiences, and there is much more to learn here about feminism. Definitely,
we brought together women whose countries have been in either armed conflict or in post-conflict settings, but also where their organizations are working on issues of peace and security, to try and strengthen their capacities to analyze, to dialogue, and be able to advocate for issues of peace and security in their countries.
Countries like Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Nepal and South Sudan and Uganda have experienced armed conflict for long periods. In all situations, women have been victims of different forms of violations, including sexual violence.
Violence against women is a universal crisis, and we therefore need universal solutions to some of the challenges that women meet globally. And that talks to the relevance of international mechanisms such as the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It also talks so much about the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security.
Men and women need to work together because men normally dominate and men do not understand women's issues very well. But taking women alone to try to push for these changes, we may not be able to work because most of the leadership cultural, political, or otherwise. Most of the institutions are led by men. So there is a very big need of bringing men on board and making men understand some of these issues, and then we shall be able to solve the problems.
Isis Wiki has for the last 15 years trained women from different conflict-affected countries to impart them with skills that would enable them address situations that affect women in conflict and post-conflict situations.
How does conflict arise in our countries? What are the systemic issues that have caused the violence that we see in our countries and the pain that women particularly go through? When armed violence comes in, then it is worsened. So we are enabling them to understand those issues and to go home and be able to work on those on a professional level.
Isis Wiki International Institute program specifically promotes women leadership in peace building and conflict transformation through peace education and research. Isis Wiki Institute has been running since 1996 and has over time metamorphosed from national to regional and even dominating the international space it occupies today. The 2011-2012 Institute has 34 participants from Anglo and Francophone countries in Africa and Asia that are in armed and post-conflict setting. This year's Institute theme is on strengthening women's potential in leadership and peace building. The objective of the Institute is to provide knowledge and practical skills to improve on competence of women leaders and sending organizations to effectively engage in peace transformation and peace building. Yeliwe Clark, Isis Wiki's board member and a lecturer at Africa Gender Institute in Cape Town, South Africa, took the participants through feminism approaches and patriarchy.
And actually since 2009 we reflected on that training methodology, and we decided to push it a bit further and make a direct link between feminism and conflict and peace and security. So both in terms of content, number of participants and the spread of participants, I think there's been a bit of a shift, and I think it's an interesting and strategic shift. Because when we look at the peace and security terrain across the continent and across the world, there's clear commitment internationally to ensure that women are included and women's perspectives to security and peace are taken into account and are physically in the places in which it is discussed. Now, from a feminist perspective, the argument is women have always been doing peace building work. The only thing is that it's not been recognized by government officials. This is a position Isis Wiki makes very clear. But in the context of our training, we wanted even to push it to say, actually, if we're looking at a feminist perspective to peace building and security and conflict, we need actually to take into account, yes, women's experiences and differentiate the different roles that women play and the different histories and places that shape women's experiences of violent conflict and creation of peace.
Participants were trained in 3 thematic areas: feminist approaches to conflict, sexual and reproductive health and rights and research methods, and documentation of women's realities.
What was also interesting for this one is we're making a distinction between a feminist understanding of conflict and peace and the usual one used by state systems. State systems will say, oh, we are in post-conflict because the militia groups are not shooting bullets. But from a feminist perspective, we probably wouldn't agree with that. Just because there's a political agreement signed doesn't necessarily mean the violence has stopped, the militarized violence has stopped.
Dr. Tom Charles Otim, a senior consultant in gynecology at Mbale Referral Hospital, facilitated participants on issues of sexual reproductive health and rights in the conflict context.
In India, Pakistan and Nepal, there have also related stories where women who are undergoing menstruation are isolated. Some are isolated in kraals, where like cows, and some are taken to a temple somewhere until the menstruation stops. Then you come back because they think you are dirty. And yet we know menstruation is a physiological thing, normal. And the woman who is having menstruation does not smell. She's not dirty at all. There is no infection. And I think this type of cultures, we need to work and enter into the community and let them appreciate that this is discrimination of women and is making the women appear like some people who are not important in the society. This should be discouraged.
The module on research methods and documentation of women's realities forms a major component of the Institute. Professor Victoria Mwaka, a former ICIS-Wiki board president and an independent consultant in research methods, believes it is the building block of the Institute.
Then we have taught them how to document themselves. You know, their problems, their development, you know, how they cope, and organizing the organizations in such a way that they document what they are doing and sell their activities in order to be marketable in the international market. What everybody is looking for donor funding.
After 2 weeks of intensive training, participants got an opportunity to travel to Kasese in western Uganda to participate in the 2011 Peace Exposition. This formed part of their cross-cultural exchange program to broaden their outlook on issues they practically discussed in the theoretical sessions. The Institute participant was able even to share views and experiences on sexual violence from their countries.